The high-stakes, high-paying world of strategic consulting is, well, it's going through something right now. We're talking a major slowdown, hiring freezes, and a fundamental shift in how the entire business works. And right at the center of this storm, a single powerful force: artificial intelligence. So, this brings us to the big question on everyone's mind. Is the multi-billion-dollar consulting industry, an industry built entirely on human brainpower, about to be completely upended by AI? Let's dig in and find out. The first warning signs are showing up right at the very top of the food chain. At the UK's big four firms, the giants of the industry, partner promotions have just hit a 5-year low. And look, this isn't just some random dip. It's a calculated, strategic move to protect profits while they figure out what the future holds. And it's not just about who gets the corner office. The pipeline for new talent, it's constricting and fast. By the end of 2023, job postings for consulting roles had plummeted by nearly 2/3. That's a huge red flag that the market is hitting the brakes hard. It gets more serious, though. We're moving beyond just hiring less. Firms are now actively trimming their headcount. We're talking industry titans, McKinsey, Deloitte, EY, making cuts of 2 to 5% in 2023. This is a direct reaction to a mix of, a tough economy, but also the new efficiencies that AI is starting to bring online. So you've got fewer partners, fewer new jobs, and actual layoffs. Is this just a temporary downturn, the kind of thing we've seen before? Or is this something bigger? To really get what's happening, to cut through all the noise, we need a proper framework to analyze this disruption. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We've just covered the great consulting cooldown. Next, we'll introduce a really powerful framework for understanding this kind of disruption. Then we'll apply it, looking at how the business model is under pressure and how there are new players and new rules. After that, we'll deliver our verdict, what's really happening here. And finally, we'll look ahead to the future of expertise itself. Okay, so the framework we're going to use actually comes from inside the house. It's from one of the industry's own giants, Bain Company. They came up with 5 key questions to figure out how AI is going to impact any business. And now, we're going to turn that very same lens back onto the consulting world itself. And these 5 questions, they really get right to the heart of it. First, will the entire business model get turned upside down? Second, what's going to happen to the market and to pricing? Third, will the very idea of competition change? Fourth, how much better can the actual product get? And finally, will it lead to any real cost savings?
Let's start with the big one, the most fundamental question of all, the business model. This goes right to the core of how these companies actually work and, how they make their money.
I see the pressure is coming from all sides. Clients, who now have their own powerful AI tools, are starting to ask, do we really need this huge, expensive team of junior consultants to do this work? They see AI making things more efficient, and they expect to see that reflected in lower fees. And that directly attacks the classic pyramid structure of the whole industry, which is exactly why we're seeing these historic hiring freezes at the top firms. And this squeeze on the business model is getting cranked up to 11, because AI is just completely rewriting the rules of the game, for competition, for what consultants are even selling, and for their own internal costs. Think about it this way. The old moats that used to protect these firms, they're drying up. Prestige and old-school relationships are being replaced by proprietary AI tools like McKinsey's own Lily. The most valuable players aren't just the MBA generalists anymore. They're the top-tier data scientists and engineers. And suddenly, the biggest competitor might not be another big firm, but a client's own internal AI team, or a new partnership like the one between Bain and OpenAI. So what are the firms doing? They are scrambling to evolve their product at lightning speed. They're not just selling advice and slide decks anymore. They are building and selling AI solutions. BCG thinks 40% of its revenue will come from AI work in just a couple of years. And the investments are just staggering. PwC is dropping $1 billion on AI and giving ChatGPT to 100,000 of its people. EY launched its own platform, EY.ai, with a $1.4 billion price tag. This isn't a tweak, it's a massive pivot. And at the same time, internally, they're using AI to become way more efficient. All that routine research and back office work, it's being automated. McKinsey, for instance, cut about 200 tech and support jobs, saying flat out that AI was giving them more leverage. This lets smaller teams, armed with AI co-pilots, do the work that used to take an army of analysts. And that's absolutely crucial for protecting their profits as clients push for lower prices. Okay, so we've got pressure on the business model, a totally new competitive landscape, and a radical shift in products and costs. So what does this all add up to? Let's put all the pieces together and reach a verdict.
You know, you don't have to take my word for it. Bain's own worldwide managing partner said it perfectly. He called generative AI an industrial revolution for knowledge work. Now, that is not the kind of language you use for a small adjustment. That's the language of a fundamental, ground-shaking change. So in Bain's own framework, AI's impact can fall into one of three buckets. A revolution is the big one. That's when the whole business model is at risk of just being replaced. Augmentation is more common. That's when AI just helps you do what you already do, but better and cheaper. And right in the middle, you have transformation, where to survive and thrive, you need to make substantial, deep changes to your strategy. After weighing all the evidence, all the changes we've just walked through, the verdict for the consulting industry is a clear and undeniable transformation. So why a transformation? Well, it's not a full-blown revolution, because at the end of the day, clients still need that trusted human judgment in the boardroom. And AI can't replace that, at least not yet. But this is so much more than simple augmentation. The changes to hiring, to who the competition is, to the very services they sell, it's all too fundamental. This is an industry that absolutely has to overhaul its entire strategy, or it risks getting left in the dust fast. So, if the entire industry is transforming, what does that actually mean for the people in it? What does the future of expertise even look like in this brand new world? The consultant of tomorrow is going to be a hybrid professional, someone who blends their deep human expertise with a powerful AI co-pilot. Their real value, their competitive edge, will come from how well they can use these proprietary AI tools. And the companies they work for won't just be advisory firms anymore. They're going to be hybrid advisory tech organizations, competing just as much on their software as they do on their strategy. And this leaves us with one final fascinating question that goes way beyond just the world of consulting. As AI becomes a co-pilot for all of us, for every knowledge worker, from lawyers to doctors to coders, what does it truly mean to be an expert anymore? That's the big question this transformation is forcing every single one of us to answer.